What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Lootbros podcast. I'm your host, Residentdarrell, and I got my good friend, the writer and co-creator, whoa, look at that cup, of the Godfoe Universe. It is Dan the Man Evans. How are you doing?
What's up, everybody?
I'm sure you've never heard anybody say Dan the Man.
Never. Or Daniel's son.
That's funny. You know what, man? I grew up in an era, when you know this, because you're about a year younger than me, where my name's Darrell, and I always heard, how's your brother Darrell and your other brother Darrell, from that stupid show, from back when we were kids. Yeah. That's almost gone away now, It wasn't
as popular.
Yeah. It's going away. But now, I mean, Daniel's son, that was a big deal. Karate Kid, I'm sure growing up, that you were Daniel's son everywhere.
Yeah, and thankfully the Cobra Kai, it's come back.
Yeah, a resurgence of the Daniel son. So, well, I want to give you a shout out. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our initial conversations, we were going to talk about Black Adam, and we're going to talk about Black Adam today. We're also going to talk about the Godfoe Universe. We're going to talk about you being a YouTube sensation and a content creating master. Like every day, my little notification is up. I'm like, oh man, new Godfoe. Oh, new Godfoe. Oh, here we go. So I have been, you are up there in my top 3 that I listen to weekly now.
That means a lot.
So I definitely appreciate it. You had a guy on the other day. I don't remember his name, but he dropped the F-bomb a lot.
Chris is Vengeance. Yeah.
Yes. That
Chris is hilarious.
I almost said Chris, but I was like, I can make sure I'm not listening to this Godfoe whenever the kids are around. Because
I'm sorry.
He was going off about Comicsgate, and I'm like, yes, those are my people. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's a bad thing. I don't even know anymore.
It depends.
Is Comicsgate bad? Is Comicsgate good? I don't know.
I am not involved in it because I wasn't there for it. I've met people that love it, and I've met people that were burned by it.
Yeah,
I stay out of it because I don't like. To me, a lot of that stuff, unless people, because there are people that were legitimately involved on both sides of that stuff that were hurt by each other.
Yeah,
but when it's just people talking smack about each other, I'm not a 12-year-old girl, so I don't care.
So I miss all the good gates. I miss Watergate. I miss Comicsgate. I miss Gamergate.
Golden Gate.
Yeah. I've never seen that one. I was around for Obamagate. So
I was too, unfortunately. But no, I'm trying to get 6 videos out a week, taking Sunday off. You just, I don't know, trying to get the algorithm up basically, and I feel so much better when I get up at 4 a.m. instead of getting up at 8. So
there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you have inspired me. I told you before we started officially recording that I was thinking about doubling my content, because I already do the weekly podcast. I do a minimum of 2 bonus episodes of the podcast for the Patreon, which, by the way, if you're listening to this, Loot Bros podcast Patreon, I do the Super Loot Bros episode, which this month's episode I think is really cool personally, and this will go live right before the episode drops. But we had a conversation at the tail end of our recording last week where one of my guests, he asked, what is the weirdest experience you ever had meeting someone to buy and sell video games and stuff? And I got to tell a cool, disgusting story. But leading up to that, I one of my most recent experiences, and actually the latest video I dropped on Residentdarrell's YouTube channel, where my son and I were out at the flea markets. There's this group, and they're having this whole conversation. This guy was trying to sell someone a watch and saying it was Putin's personal watch. He's like, I'm telling you, that was Putin's personal watch. And you can hear part of it in the video. So I throw up a text on the screen that says the Russian conversation. That's a Russian watch. That's Putin's personal watch. But the conversation got me thinking about how, walking in public, especially in a place like the flea market where people are talking, negotiating, haggling. It reminds me of in the movies and stuff when you're people are downtown and like a market, I guess a Times Square. It seems like in the bigger cities, people aren't actually talking to each other. They're trying to avoid talking to each other. But in a place where there's a lot of traffic, a lot of people haggling, in the flea markets, you're walking through there, and it's like walking through a Grand Theft Auto game because conversation on both sides can be so wild. Like, and this is I talk about this a little bit more in depth on the Super Loot Bros episode this week. But it's like 1 minute you got this person talking about politics. Over here, there's this guy trying to sell someone Putin's personal watch from Russia. And then over here, you got somebody freaking out because of something that, I mean, the other day there was these two women fighting over a table, which, don't get me wrong, I about got into it with a guy over a table the other day myself. But like, they were fighting over a table and they just sell plushies. It's just like, this is so good. This is as cultured as you could possibly be.
What you just described is the reason I don't live in a big city.
Oh, dude. So if it wasn't for the fact that this world is so, okay, I don't want to live in a big city either. I can't. You know, I want, as a matter of fact, my wife and I were walking around the neighborhood today talking about how our next move is lots of land and getting away from everybody. You got a guest in the room?
No. Yeah, but it's fine.
No, it's all good. You see, here on the Loot Bros podcast, we welcome all the guests. Is it a child or is it a spouse?
We had a friend living with us right now.
Okay, so both. Awesome. All right, but I don't even know where I was going with all this. Oh, so anyways, you've inspired me to double up my content. I told you I've got enough in the can to drop 2 videos a week on YouTube. But I know there's going to come a day where I'm going to be thin on one of the 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? If you can do 6, I can at least do 2. So here you go. You heard it first here, guys. Loot Bros Podcast. I'm going to double my content to keep up with Dan.
A big thing that I found that helps is like we'll do like 1.5 to 2 hour podcast, and then I can cut up like interesting sections into clips.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
helpful. Are you doing
a lot.
Shorts yet?
Yeah, shorts basically.
I haven't done any shorts yet.
I've done one. I didn't really like it, but you know, that's what the algorithm wants. So that's what the algorithm gets.
That's what I keep reading. And so I've got enough footage right here on my old GoPro. I hadn't even plugged it up yet to take the footage off, but I actually just this past week, I filled up a 64 gig memory card and I'm almost filled up a second one. So that's nice. How much footage I've got. But I went to the Goodwill bin store. I don't know if you've ever been to a Goodwill bins before. It's essentially, they take those giant pallets, those Gaylords, you know, and they dump them in. Well, they actually don't even dump them. They just line the room up with them, but they've got bins that they dump them in. And you go in there and you fill up trash cans full of stuff. Then you weigh it and you pay by the pound.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So I was there this past week and dude, the footage is amazing. When you see it, like I might actually move that up to be one of my most recent videos one of my more current videos that I dropped because it was just so cool.
I mean, you had me at Gaylord
Falker. but so there was these people there who apparently were arguing with the lady who runs the bin store. Then this other person met me in there's a retail side, there's the bin side. So I go on the retail side and this other person was like, saw the camera on me and it was like, "Excuse me, sir." And I was like, "Yeah, can I help you?" And they're like, "Is that a camera?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's a giant GoPro strapped to my chest. Of course it is. And "Did you film what happened over there?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And apparently there was some kind of altercation where the supervisor was speaking to the customers as if they were dogs. And this person was trying to get me to
get involved in something.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know anything about that. But I think I've got enough of the commotion, the interaction with the supervisor, because she talked to me like about it, which I had no idea what was going on. Like, yeah, cool. Here, I found a Wii Fit board. Let's go. 25 cents. And then this interaction here. So I think I got enough footage to make a short and call it Drama at the Goodwill Bins or something like that. And I think I can make a clickbaity little short that might get me a view or 10.
You're like, I think that I have enough of these people's trauma to cash in on.
That's the goal. And that's the goal. And see, that's another thing too, is like, I wish I've got to be very intentional, and I'm not an intentional cameraman. So I literally hate being on camera. So putting a GoPro on my chest and facing the floor is like the ideal way for me to film things.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, what if I could film or record the conversations going on at the flea market, make shorts out of that? This is Putin's personal watch, flown all the way from Russia right here to the flea market in South Carolina. $20.
Somehow magically.
I got to figure it out. That's the code I have to crack. Because I'm telling you, there's a line, and I said this on the Super Loot Bros episode. If you walk through Grand Theft Auto 3, there's a line, especially down there. You know where you played Grand Theft Auto 3, right?
Mm-hmm. And San Andreas.
Yeah. So you know where you get the Banshee, the Corvette or whatever. I don't even know if there's really a Corvette. I don't know what you like in that too. Maybe the Stingray Corvette. But either way, there's that one car lot where you get the Banshee. But if you're walking down the street, almost every time you can hear someone yell out, "My mother's my sister." It's like one of the best lines ever.
It's
and
like
I'm
being
just
in
like,
downtown Sumter.
That's Gaston. But yes, my mother's my sister. So I like, that's what the flea market is to me. If I just go and I listen in, I feel like I'm in a Grand Theft Auto game, and I want to take that, I want to bottle it up and give that to the world because there's magic there.
You want to encapsulate, or you want to distill Kid Rock.
That's another thing. I went to a flea market way out in the Nices area. I don't know if you're familiar with Nices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So I went out there to the Springfield, Nices, Orangeburg area, and I walked those flea markets a couple weeks ago. That footage is still to come. And dude, the amount of guns and the amount of like just cool conversation happening. Dudes selling socket wrenches, fishing gear, and shotguns. I mean, it's like a one-stop shop right there. It's like right across the street from the bootleg DVDs. I'm just like, this is amazing. We need a video game about this. GTA flea markets.
I was like, I've said this before, but it's so true. It's why I couldn't get into The Walking Dead, is because it took place in like Atlanta, Georgia. It's just like that. Like Grand Theft Auto, you like, dude, you guys want to get crazy, man? Like come to like some parts of the South, like on a Saturday morning, and try to haggle some old lady for like something you want.
That's right, dude. That's right. I had a chick try to sell me a PlayStation 2, no controls, no connections for $40. I was like, she was mad. I said no. I was like, I'm good.
You're like, I know you stole this. Like,
hey man, I had some tweakers sell me a PS2 for $1 the other day, and a Nintendo 64 with the expansion pack for $3.
Did it work?
Yes, they both worked, and I sold them both. Like, it was awesome. It was crazy. This is before I knew you were looking for that stuff. But yeah, this is a few months.
Hit me up if you got it.
Yeah, this is I didn't even start. I started recording after this interaction. Like, I was like, this is insane. I've got to start recording this stuff. Like, that was the one right there. I was like, I just walked up to a table, and these dudes were like, "Hey man, give me $1. It's yours."
Man, just be sure you don't get shot. Like,
hey, I was listening to a story the other day about how there was a gun pulled in the parking lot at the flea market. So I'm always strapped though. If you look at this, matter of fact, oh dude, this is perfect. You see this right here?
Yeah.
You can't really see it. Hang on. See on the side. All right, for the audio listeners, check it out. So Dan and I, we got our cameras on, and this is my little flea market watch, my little mini mag light. Okay, this is my bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is a crossover bag. Okay, and I mount my camera to it, but I keep my knives and stuff like that on the side. Keep my little thing. But it's a concealed carry bag, right? So like right here on the back,
you come strapped.
I'm always strapped. Hang on, I got the button. Anyways, I'm already dead, but yeah, always strapped. So it's so funny. So I got my GoPro on my front and my friggin' 9 on my back. And my mag light on the side in case I got to blind you before I shoot you.
Just don't be like a cop. Just don't be like a cop in a big city and grab the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's like All right, so guys, what were you about to say?
I don't know how that happens. I don't know how you spend that much time in training, and you're like, oh, I meant to do the tasers. Like, maybe you should look.
I mean,
because they look different.
In the heat of the moment, Yeah. All right, guys, this is the Loot Bros podcast. If you like what you hear, please check out our Patreon. We have all kinds of excellent content there. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to the Residentdarrell YouTube channel and the Godfoe Universe. Dan's going to be getting into what he's been working on. We like to start the show off with a toast. We toast to our Patreon producers for the month of January. We've got Redbeard Rick. We've got Johnny Sadek. My name is Effing Mayo and MZ Effing Nitro. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Ooh, my favorite part right here, Dan.
Before I came on the first time, I just thought you were getting lit like every episode.
That's so funny. Yeah, this is as strong as I go. Sugar-free monster. And I'm on the 12 ounces, not even the 16 ounces. Yep, I got a bottle of water and a can of juice. That's it. Sugar-free monster sounds like a Reddit dark hole that you don't want to get to. Like, who's this guy named Sugar-Free Monster that did terrible things to people? I'm sure. Hey, you know what? Back in the day, Sugar Ray Leonard was a popular boxer. You could pass as a boxer. Coming at Sugar-Free Monster. Or that could be the in prison, like, not all of the male on male sexual encounters are
consensual.
Sugar-Free Monster could be the guy that's only doing it for territorial purposes. Like, he's not into it, but he's just got to show you who the boss is.
I ever tell you the story of my buddy that was a correctional officer in what are they called? Honey buns. He was like, there was always the new guys. They'd come in and all the veterans be like, hey man, here's a honey bun. Like, they don't really hand these out. And of course, like 3 hours later, he comes back and he's like, where's my honey bun?
Oh.
And if you don't have it,
you got to touch my wiener.
You got to give it back.
Oh gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah. So every time I hear honey bun, I think of that.
Ugh, I'm not gonna enjoy those like I used to. Oh gosh. All right. Well, Dan, what we like to do here on the Loot Bros podcast is not only do we talk about honey buns and whether or not Sugar-Free Monster is or isn't a sexual predator, but we like to talk about video games and what we've been playing. Now, I know you've been really busy making music, making content, and conquering YouTube, but have you had time to play any games lately?
I've been playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Okay.
I broke out Revolution X on the Super Nintendo.
Going old school.
Yeah, I love that game. That's the one that's like sponsored by Aerosmith or whatever. Majora's Mask. I'm going back through. I still have my original save file from when I was like 12 and didn't beat it.
Dang,
so
fun.
I'm trying to finally do that. Ocarina of Time. I found my old save file where I was trying to beat the entire game on 3 hearts. And I'm at the Shadow Temple, so past Dan was really good. Yeah, single childless Dan was really good at video games, apparently.
Old man Dan that doesn't have the reflexes he used to, he's not faring so well.
Yeah, that's about it, man. I've been working on a video game every morning, like making one.
Dude, you know what? How's that coming? I know that Josh was like, you and I were talking about doing the South Carolina Horror Con. Mm-hmm. And Josh was like, yeah, why don't you just whip up a demo and have it ready by then?
Yeah, I'll have a demo ready, so you'll actually get to play it.
Oh, that's dope.
I'm going to bring it there. I'll probably have the entire skeleton of it done by then. It's going to be 12 dungeons with about 9 to 12 rooms each. Kind of very old school Zelda-y, like dungeon crawl.
Mm-hmm.
It's half bullet hell, half puzzle. It's really cool. I don't want to give it away too much, but
sounds like my sex life.
I should have like all the rooms made by September, and then of course it's like a book. You go back through and edit it like 6 different times and fix everything and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I've got a wonderful guy from my band named John Seal who does all the scoring for our short films that are on YouTube.
Okay,
we only have one up right now, but he's going to score the entire game, and he's like you got to have him on to talk about horror. Like that dude is a horror movie buff.
Let's do this. Let's get it set up. Yeah, I was going to offer, if you need any contributions in music, let me know.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely hit you up because I need all the help I can get and everything.
Yeah, I mean, even trailer music, anything like that.
Trailer park music.
I mean, hey,
can you give me some of that?
Hey, I did a little acoustic number for a country rap rock band one time. I recorded and mixed their stuff, and they had. You ever heard of Charlie Farley?
I have not.
Well, I mean, if you like country rap, then you, yeah, I did.
That's what I've been missing in my life.
There was a time where I was like, I can't believe this exists, and I can't believe it's as popular as it is. And this was a time. This is put yourself on iTunes, put yourself on Spotify and stuff. Mm-hmm. And actually, I think it was pre Spotify. So I was in this lull. This is 2012. And I was like, man, my band, we came so close. We just never landed that deal. Here we are. We're disbanded. I've got all this gear. I started accumulating all this studio stuff. And I had like a borderline midlife crisis. When I logged in 1,000 hours of editing music. And I was like, what do I have to show for this? A bunch of crappy songs and no band. And I'm like, this sucks. And I was working with a couple different groups and
can't fly, can't fight, can't crow.
That's right. And I was working with these guys who were doing a country rap group called Them Country Boys. Mm-hmm. And so they come in there and they're kind of basically paying me like $90 a day to like rent my studio room and for me to work with them. Oh, I was making a killing. I mean, when I did the math, like pennies an hour for the amount of time I put in it. And so I'm sitting there and I'm kind of working on them, we're working on their beats and stuff like that. And then I'm like, well, let me get my acoustics. So I'm over here whipping out some acoustic licks. And then I pull the electric out and I get the wah. And I'm like, I'm like coming up with all these little licks and whatever. Put it all together and then they get signed. And I was like, I'm out. I sold everything. I said, I'm done. I was like, this is insane. I was like, how is my first piece of music on iTunes? Country rap contributions. A couple of licks I did for them. I was like, thank you. I'm so glad that I didn't even get a credit. It could have been
worse. It could have been worse. It could have been like a Despacito remix.
I mean, I didn't even get a credit for it. So I was like, well, I don't even have that. But I know who did that. Have you been playing anything else, Dan?
No, man, I don't. I've past 10 years I've been a casual gamer. I might pick up the Switch Pass to play GoldenEye online because they're finally doing that, and I would really like to slaughter some 12-year-olds, and you can soundbite that and forever and just. I'm gonna play some proximity mines.
All of a sudden, Dan's involved in some scandal about.
I bet most people that play it now don't know that you can detonate remote mines in the air by hitting was it A and B at the same time?
Oh, dude, I don't even remember. The best thing is just pick odd job. No one can hit you.
Oh yeah, one shot kills.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've got 3 Nintendo Switches in this house, and I think it's time I play some GoldenEye because that was the jam back in the day.
Oh yeah, it's still a hard game to top. It's still so good.
It's so fun. We played with my son. We actually brought out the Nintendo 64 not so long ago. Which, by the way, I'm gonna pour one out. My jungle green Nintendo 64 died day before yesterday. R.I.P. But that
was the Donkey Kong one, wasn't it?
It sure was. It's the Donkey Gone one because I parted it and sold the console. I sold the console for $95. Sold the controller for $30. And then the games I had, I sold those too. So But anyways, we busted out the Nintendo 64, I don't know, 6-8 months ago, and an old TV, and it showed my oldest son the glory of GoldenEye. We had an absolute blast. Me, him, and my brother. It was awesome.
Yeah, very few things. I don't know, man. That was a whole era right there. Like the N64 and the PS2. Those are really hard games. Those are really hard game systems to beat. Like in general, like man. Anyway, so yeah,
I agree. As a matter of fact, so I've been, and everyone knows because I've been talking about it ad nauseum, but I've been buying and selling video games and for the past hardcore for the past probably 6 months, and my personal collection has exploded. It's grown so much. And the problem is this: I go out, Dan, and I buy a whole bunch of games, right? And I'm like, I love this era. I can't sell these. I have to go buy more and sell those. And then I go buy a bunch of them, and I'm like, I love that. I can't sell these. I started off, okay? The point of me doing all this was not to become a YouTube reseller. The point of me doing this was not to supplement my income. The point of me doing this was to downsize my collection, use my office as an actual adult office, okay? Not a command center for this nerd fandom that I have, okay? And then I ended up with I'm going to just solely collect PlayStation Vita games and then Resident Evil stuff, okay? PS Vita, Resident Evil. The Resident Evil sprinkles across everything, but Vita is a very small, expensive collection of games, and that'll be my thing. And then I was like, but God, I love PSP. I can't sell my PSP stuff. So as I'm going through it, I'm like, I can't sell PSP. And then I was like, well, I've got like 350 PS4 games. I probably shouldn't sell those because like they're not really worth anything right now because they're on the out. And so I need to wait for them to really let that plummet. And then one day there'll be people look for them. So I was like, well, I can't sell PS4. I can't sell PSP and PS Vita. I was like, but man, PS3 is one of my favorite consoles ever. And the games that come out for the PS3, I just, oh man, this one's super rare. I just found out that I had this horror game. It's worth $100. I can't sell that. And then before you know it, I'm like, I've got more in this house that I can't sell now than I do things that I can sell because I'm just like, I can't sell that. I got to sell this over here. So PS2 is getting that. My point is, I just bought a whole bunch of PS2 games with the intention of turning around and selling them. They're on the no sell shelf right now. I'm just saying.
I want to get a Shadow of the Colossus, Metal Gear Solid 2. I got Armored Core 2. I need to get Armored Core 3, Armored Core Silent Line, like the staples that just I absolutely loved and played over and over and over and over. That's what I've told myself into. Like anything new that I buy has to be like a staple that I'm gonna keep forever.
Now, do you need Metal Gear Solid 3? Because I just picked that up.
I do not.
Okay.
I appreciate it. I just after 2, I didn't care anymore.
Dude, 3 is awesome. Did you play 3?
I did with my brother. I couldn't get into it.
Nah, man, I didn't play it when it came out. When it first came out, I played with a friend. And I didn't, like you said, it was just different. It was not, I love 2. God, I love 2. 3 was not really my thing. And then 4 came out. 4 was, what I played of, 4 was great. 5, I didn't finish. But I say all that to say, going back recently in the past couple years, I played 3 from start to finish on the Vita. Masterpiece. That game is a masterpiece. It took years for it to settle in on me and work. Yeah. But dude,
it's Metal Gear Solid 2 had to grow on me. When I got it, I was super disappointed that they give you the old bait and switch and you didn't play as Snake. But the controls and the game itself and the gameplay were just so fantastic. I didn't mind that you were playing as Raiden for 90% of the game. I was mad about that though. I was still mad. I was like, I wanted to play as Snake. Dang it! Like,
yeah, dude. It's the bait and switch. It didn't bother me, but I was like, oh man, I wasn't expecting that. So
I still remember exactly how to like beat the fat man fight in like no time.
The guy on roller skates.
Yeah, I remember his pattern. Metal Gear Solid 2, fun fact, my middle brother beat Sniper Wolf by shooting a rocket launcher into her trench. And that works. I can guarantee that works. Like he was like, I am not getting in a sniper battle with this chick. Like he just blasted straight through her.
So what's funny is I heard on a podcast that you could beat the was it the nightmare or whatever on part 3. It's the sniper battle in Metal Gear Solid 3. That if you change the time on your console, you could age him to where he dies of old age in the game. Kid you not. I was like, no way. Because how did that work on PS3? You know? But you could go in and change the internal clock and age him to where he dies of old age and you don't have to battle him.
That's funny.
Dude, I went and did that on my Vita. I kid you not. The freaking dude died of old age. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. Kojima, you are a genius. There's no question. You are so ahead of your time. But it was awesome.
He needs to just go ahead and make a movie.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what he's waiting on, you know what I'm saying? Because like,
I think he's waiting on movies to be as profitable for him as games are. Maybe,
yeah. It might be one of those things too, like like he's always flirted with it, and when you finally get it, maybe it's not as good as you had hoped. Like for example, the show House, when Dr. House and Cuddy were always battling it out with that weird sexual tension, it was amazing. The season, like season 6 or something, when they actually get together, it's abysmal. It's so terrible. But it's like, we wanted this, and then we got it. I don't want that anymore. I don't want this at all.
Mulder and Scully, they did that right.
Yep. But, jumping back into what we're playing, I'm playing a little bit of Dead Space 2. The Dead Space remake comes out tomorrow, as of the time of recording. So that
you should do a first reaction to that.
I want to, but I am not buying it yet. And I know that's going to make some of my podcast listeners freaking crap a duck. But I have, I've got, this is what's on my plate right now. I bought the Callisto Protocol, which is made by the original creator of Dead Space back in December. I still haven't finished it. I have Gotham Knights. I'm almost finished with it. I'm really enjoying it. Like having way more fun with it than I should. That's another game that I'm currently playing. I'm playing South Park Stick of Truth for a pledge. I'm trying to have that done by the end of February because I try to get those done really fast. You know, I don't want my pledges to linger for too long. And I got the pledge.
Not like cranberries.
Yeah, you can't let it linger. Because then they'll be like, did you have to? I mean, did you have to, Dan? Nobody else on the show would have got that. You being here is the only reason that worked. That's so good. So I got that one like early November, end of October. So I feel like I've already sat on that one too long, and I've already restarted it once. Played the first couple hours twice now. So that's what I'm trying to knock out. But for the game club, we're doing Mass Effect, and so I've never beat Mass Effect, so I'm playing Mass Effect as well. So that's just so much game, you know? And as much as Dead Space Remake is my most anticipated game of the year, but that doesn't mean I have to play it day one. I'm just gonna, the reviews came out, they were really positive. All the impressions seem to be really good. The game's gonna be well, it's gonna do well. So I will pick it up. Maybe I'll pick it up tomorrow, maybe I'll wait, a month or so. My birthday's in February, and my wife always tries to buy me a game, so I might let her buy me Dead Space.
Tries to.
She tries. She knows I like games, but typically I buy everything I want, so I might let her buy me that one.
My wife bought me, for Christmas, she bought me like a gift card to a jiu-jitsu dojo. I was like, I am not getting in shape just to get my ass kicked.
Dude, I watched my son get choked out the other day.
And
I was like, dang.
I'm definitely enrolling my daughter into it when she's old enough. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. I'd love to do it. First of all, I'm in god awful shape, and like my left arm, I got to get surgery on this shoulder because like the socket is just warped from like birth.
Dang.
So it already comes out, and of course, like some white belt's just going to grab it and jerk it. I'm going to pay like $3,000 to get it back in again.
That's right.
Anyway, now my wife usually does pretty good gifts. It's just I like to give her hell about the ones that were amiss.
It's like, really, out of all the things in the world, you got me the thing that hurts my feelings the most.
I just like old school anime. That's all I want. Just buy me DVDs of like anime from the 90s. That's all I want.
Speaking of, let me see. What did I do with it? Got my flashlight here. I've got a steel book of an anime. One second. Let me get it. I don't have a clue what this is. I got it for Christmas.
What does that say?
It says Darling in the Fran XX. Yeah. Darling in the FRANXX season 1.
Man, that could be a number of things.
It's I guess it came out on Funimation. But yeah, I've never heard of it. Anyways, my dad knows I collect steelbooks, and so he's like, "Yeah, it's anime, but it's a steelbook. Figured you like it." I was like, "Thanks, Dad." And then it's so funny because my kids, we make fun of anime here. No, I mean, if you like anime,
you're not gonna hurt my feelings.
Okay, so we make fun of anime here, and then my kids like, "Hey, Dad, what's that?" I was like, "It's an anime." They're like, "Ew." That's another video I got coming out. We went to an anime con, right? Me and my son, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, look, books." I was like, "Yeah, those are anime books." He's like, "Ugh." It's like walking off. I'm like, "Son, this whole place is anime. We're at the anime con. We're at the anime expo." He's like, "Ugh."
He's like, "Dad, you know I can't read."
He's like, "I'm here for Pokemon."
You're like, "That's an anime."
Oh, dude, it's so funny when I tell them they like anime because they like Pokemon. They're like, "No, Dad, we don't do that here."
Okay, that's probably pretty good to like keep your kids away from that. Like if I tried to explain anime to my wife once, and I was like, you know what, I'm just not gonna do it.
Dude, my wife thinks the anime is porn, so it's just like,
I mean, she's not wrong. So
it doesn't help that Tanner, one of my old co-hosts on the show, he tried to get me to like anime, and so he turned on Icky Towson, I think is what it was called.
Oh God!
And basically, like they get punched in the face and their titty pops out, and it's like, what is this? He's like, you know what? He goes, this is probably a bad one to start with. I was like, what is this crap? So yeah,
one of the best ones to start with is probably Cowboy Bebop or Trigun.
Okay.
Trigun is literally a Western that takes place on a desert planet, and like that's all you need to know going into it.
There you go. I started this will fold nicely into what I've been playing, but I started One Piece Pirate Warriors 3 on the Vita this morning. As I told you before, I couldn't sleep. I got up at I couldn't sleep last night, so I stayed up really late, and then I got up really early, and I didn't really want to do anything. Like you know those mornings where you're just like your mind's racing, but you're not in a good space to do anything productive.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of how I felt, and I was like, I got tons of editing to do. I've told you before the show, musical projects, things I need to be knocking out, but I just wasn't in a good space for that. And I also didn't want to wake anyone up, so I just grabbed my Vita and I was like, you know what? I picked up One Piece yesterday from a local game store. I was like, let's just put it in. Let's just see. I hear it's a Muso. Let's just try it. Dude, it's incredible. Like, it's not good because it's One Piece, because I don't have a clue what's going on. And it's not good because the character models, because they look terrible. It's good because the combat is so fluid and so fun. I'm just like, this, I mean, who knows? This might get me in. This might make me like One Piece. I don't know. But I put about an hour and a half into it this morning, and I am loving it. Like, it's way better than it's got any right to be.
Give me just a second. I'll be right back.
No, you're good. Take your time. While you're doing that, I'm going to keep talking about what I've been playing. So, outside of One Piece, I have been playing, as I said, South Park. I've been playing some Mass Effect, and I got the platinum trophy in the Red Bow. Now, you guys know I love my freaking Vita, and I got the platinum trophy in the Red Bow on the Vita. This is a like little 16-bit, 18-bit Vita horror game. It is published by our favorite publisher, Radalaika. They are freaking awesome, and this game is super, super dope. So while Dan is gone, I'm going to go ahead and knock out the leaderboards real fast. Xbox leaderboard in first place, we got I'm Styling on Your Bro with 2,520 achievement points. Second place, we have Satic with 1,025 achievement points. Third place, we have Sony Pony to You with 470 achievement points. Fourth place, The Bearded Nerd with 265 achievement points. And fifth place, we have HJD 2011 #5279 with 250 achievement points. He's been playing some Rec Room, so good job there. And then the Loot Bros trophy leaderboards, we got Tricky Mick in first place with 165 trophies, playing the Ketchup Story. We have Affectatious Donk in second place with 140 trophies, playing some Forspoken. Third place, we have Steigen Wolf 4 with 93 trophies, playing some MotoGP 13 for the Vita. Woo woo. Fourth place, we have the Grounded Gamer with 56 trophies. And then in fifth place, yours truly, Residentdarrell, with 53 trophies. And the last game I played was One Piece Pirate Warriors 3. So I went ahead and knocked out our leaderboards while you stepped away there, Dan, so we can get on with the business.
Cool. Let's jump into it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you wanted to talk Black Adam. You thought Black Adam was a good showing from DC. DC has been in a spiral over the years, just drowning in controversy and turmoil. As a hardcore, diehard DC fan, hashtag Restore the Snyderverse, I have felt like a dog that's just been beaten on for the past few years. I absolutely adore everything that Zack Snyder was doing. I think that his casting is the best casting that's ever been done, next to X-Men Origins Wolverine, because I think that the Wolverine and Sabretooth are about as good as you can get for those two characters. But I think that, the Trinity, Gal Gadot, Ben Affleck, and Henry Cavill are the just absolute best casting you can put in for those characters. And I love the stories. I love the art being told. I love the promise of what was to come. And then studio intervention after studio intervention, turnovers. It's a freaking disaster. It's a mess. And then we got, some really popular one-offs. We got the Aquaman that was super, super successful. It was a great movie. It was fun, little popcorn flick to watch. Shazam was way better than it had any right to be. Yeah,
I loved Shazam.
Shazam was good. Shazam to me was like what Doctor Strange was. Like, I had no investment in this character. I was skeptical about even going to theaters to see it. And when I walked out, I was like, this is possibly one of the best movies in the franchise. So
I've always loved Shazam as a character ever since I read Kingdom Come for the first time.
Yeah.
And then went back and tried to catch up with the character. But you'd be amazed how little there actually is until like the 90s and 2000s. Because there was a huge gap where there was nothing almost. But yeah, Zack Snyder, I think, did more in 3 movies than Marvel could do in 10. And I stand by that. I think that his universe was more coherent. I think it was better. And I think that dude knew how to deal with these beings as gods better than anyone could have.
I agree.
Yeah. His movies only get better. When I think back to like a lot of Marvel films, I don't care to ever see them again.
Yep.
His movies only get better.
I agree. And I'll take that a step farther to say, like, I love every single Marvel movie I've ever seen in the theaters. They're excellent popcorn flicks. They're high action. They're good. They're not the type of movies I want to rewatch a ton. There's like, they're just not for me. Don't get me wrong. The way that Marvel has made those franchises so popular, with the characters that they chose to start with because of the licensing issues they faced, is commendable and incredible. And that first 18 film run was stellar. But after that, after Endgame, I was out, man. Like, I've watched a couple films and it doesn't have the same allure to it, But Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League, I watch those movies. I watch most weeks all three of those.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since HBO Max came out, even before that, I own them on Vudu, I own them digitally, I own them physically. Shout out to our good buddy Jared, listener of the show. I just sent him a copy of Batman versus Superman in a package.
The Ultimate Edition?
No, I don't even remember actually. I think it's just the regular. The thing is this: he just like you, he asked me to look out for some games for him, and I found one. And so I went to go ship it to him, and I used the USPS ship service from my PC at home. I usually ship everything through eBay, and you get a very significant discount shipping through eBay. When you do the click and ship from home, it was like $3 and $4 higher than normal. I was like, geez, that's freaking crazy. I was like, well, I gotta put more in this dude's box, man. I feel bad that like that's what it costs to ship, you know? I was like, so what can I put in there? But like the envelope I was using, the bubble mailer, like it fit a game in there, and then like you have to get one of those thin DVD cases. So what I did was, I've got something I'm doing right now for my YouTube thing is every time I find a copy of Batman vs. Superman or Man of Steel or Zack Snyder's Justice League, I buy it. Doesn't matter. I'm buying them. I bought Man of Steel this past weekend. I've got 4 copies of BVS in the wrapper still. Like they're not even opened, but I found them at the flea market and I bought them. That's just like my promise to Zack Snyder. That's what I'm going to do. And so I grabbed one of those copies and I took one of those real thin DVD cases and I folded the label and I made it fit in there and I've stuffed it in. Now, we were negotiating a whole nother game that's is getting more and more rare, right? And so we were like, all right, you're buying this one, but you're also trying to make a really compelling trade deal for this one. The problem is the 2 items he wanted to trade me together cost what this one game is reselling for now, you know? And it's like, well, trading for one, I just don't know that I can do that right now because I can't just go pick this game up, you know? Like the value proposition wasn't great, even though what he's giving me are brand new limited run Vita games that I just can't go to the store and buy either. So it's kind of like, for me, it's a win-win. Either one of them I have possession of. The difference is, one the value right now is just really high on it. And I'm like, this could go down when the remaster comes out. I don't know. It's a gamble. So at the time, I just couldn't make my mind up on what was the better deal for me. So I didn't make a deal. But I shipped him BVS stuck behind the Saboteur. And I filled up with I put stickers from my band and everything in there, just whatever I could stick in this thing, just to be like, you're going to open this and there's more than what you asked for, you know? And same way a certain somebody does for me when they ship me random packages of of paper mache and action figures. So
I'm glad they came in unscathed. I was really scared they were going to get busted up.
Beautiful. Those things are beautiful. That was too kind of you. So I definitely owe you. But I've already got some. The wheels are already turning, so don't you worry. But so he goes grocery shopping and he sees the package. He goes, "There's definitely more than one game in here." And I was like, yeah, I threw some extra in there for you. So he goes shopping and doesn't come back, doesn't open it. Gave himself enough time to work the hype up. Like, oh, dude, I'm going to open this up and I'm going to find he threw in that other game. He put Lollipop Chainsaw in there. He did it, you know? And then by the time he gets there and he's done worked himself up internally, and then he opens it up, and he always gives me hell for liking Batman vs. Superman. He always says this movie sucks, this movie's terrible. And so when he opened his package... He was Batman versus Superman. He was like, you trolled me. I'm laughing so hard right now. Like, my desired effect, it happened. It was a big win. It was awesome. So, but I say all that to say, I watch that movie all the time, weekly. It drives my wife crazy because I'll put it on before I go to bed. Like, that's what I want on. Now I've got Black Adam in the mix.
Let's go there real quick.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of where I was, a whole huge intro of me running my mouth about nothing to say, these are some of my favorite films. And this was the promise that they were going to bring it back. This was the bridge. This bridge was either going to lead to a restoration of the Snyderverse or confirmation that we're done, that there is nothing else. And before this movie came out, which is why I'm doing this whole big lead up, because The Rock himself said, I can't even wait any longer. Henry Cavill is in this movie as Superman. We didn't get him in the end of Shazam, but we got his suit. We didn't get him at the end of Peacemaker, but we got his silhouette, you know? So they've been flirting with this whole idea of, are we doing this or are we not? Henry Cavill comes back at the end of October. He does a whole thing on the internet saying, yes, I am back. I am wearing the cape. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for fighting. 2 months later, James Gunn goes, nah, guys, we're doing something completely different. We're getting rid of him. We're doing a younger Superman. Yeah. So I go into this movie so deflated, Dan, because I know that I'm going to see him. It's going to, what that was supposed to do for me. Just, it's like, it's like seeing an old lover with their new lover. So I went into the movie with that just deflated lack of hope. And in any other time, that probably would have ruined a movie for me, you know? When I know there's a whole bunch of SJW stuff in a movie that I'm looking forward to watching, and then I get there and I'm like, okay, I'm not able to separate my desire to see this movie from my fear of what's going to be in it. You know, like a lot of times it's like, I need to go ahead and get to the part where they do the thing that I don't necessarily like or agree with, or I just need them to do the thing where they're checking their boxes so they can say, look how diverse and inclusive we are, and get the bad writing out of the way. And then I can make a determination whether or not I can enjoy the film or the game. And that's a me problem, I know. But I went into this film just with that level of just deflation, you know? And I walked away freaking loving it. I was like, you know what? This was good. This could be something. So now I want to turn it over to you. I really liked it, first impressions. I thought it was really good.
It's officially my first dad movie.
Okay.
Where it's that movie that you watch like a million times and no one understands why, and then your kids are like, he's just crazy. Like, that's how my dad was with the Underworld movies. He had like all of them.
Yes.
And I don't know, I couldn't figure it out. It's like, these movies aren't great, but he loves them. I saw Black Adam, and that's the first movie in years that I saw in the theater that made me feel good. Because I was like, that was 2 hours of dudes in the sky punching each other.
Yeah.
Like Dragon Ball Z. Like I loved it. I could gush about this movie. I saw it 6 times in theaters. I mean, I only paid to see it once because the theater down the road from me is run by like modern teenagers, like Billie Eilish teenagers, not like James Dean teenagers. Okay. So I just walk by them and they don't say anything.
They're too busy looking at Instagram and Snapchat.
Yeah, they're too sad, too frail.
Did you see the new episode of My Hero Academia?
They haven't eaten meat in like 2 years.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, these kids have never gotten spanking before. So.
But anyway, man, I can't say enough about it. I mean, there are parts of it that has its flaws. Like I know the editing, like there's jump cut editings in, like where they're arguing in the ship.
Yeah,
and little stuff like that. But I mean, dude, it was like, to me, it was like the perfect synthesis of DC and with Marvel humor in a good way.
Yep.
I mean, I'll just start from the beginning. Like, it has one of the coolest hero introductions ever. Like when he appears and he like just kills all his dudes.
Yes.
It's one of the coolest looking things I've ever seen. And it's like, and then it's just, I mean, The Rock fills out the suit. He's huge. Yep. He's massive.
He fits the part so well.
I know, and then it's like it's right after it's action. It's just, to me, I love the fast pace of it. Like, it's so fast paced. It does not stop. Nope. It does not slow down. The guys who played, I mean, I gotta applaud The Rock for taking a step back and letting Pierce Brosnan and Aldous Hodge just kill it as Hawkman. Hawkman, I had never cared about Hawkman before, and now he's one of my favorite characters ever on screen because Hodge killed it. Like, when's the last time you saw like a super masculine hero on screen?
Yeah. He was decent. I think he did a good job in the role. I just think that the role they had him playing was a little odd for me. that was one of my big hangouts with the movie. Not that he was a bad Hawkman, but Hawkman as the leader having the weird negotiations with people, but then also doing the you and me in the ship. You know, like
I love that.
He had the humor too, and I've never seen Hawkman portrayed like that as like the leader.
I know
of a group.
He was the leader of the JSA. I know that canonically he was, but I mean, I'm with you. But that's what made me love it. I was like, this guy is awesome. Like
you, me, the ship. But yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I thought the casting was really good. I had no idea. Again, I've read some JSA. I've never read JSA with Hawkman in such a predominant
I hadn't
role.
either.
And I'm trying to think. I feel like Hawkman, he was portrayed in Constantine, wasn't he?
I don't think so. No.
There's a Hawkman story where him or is it?
Oh, I thought you meant the Keanu Reeves movie.
No,
I'm sorry.
I think it's the show. The show.
Okay, then yeah, I could see that.
And maybe it's not the show. I'm trying to think because he
is mystical.
Because you have him. Because basically his thing is he dies and Hawk Girl, they die, they reincarnate, and then they always find each other again. Yeah. And they don't know why they're attracted to each other, and then they kind of always figure it out, and then they die, and they do it again. He was portrayed in live action, and I thought that was really good, but I always saw him as more of a side character. In this movie, they put him up front, which I didn't disagree with. It just was, I didn't recognize that role for him, and I thought it was very interesting. I thought that guy played a very, like, Tony Stark type of character, you know, where he's like, I'm a pretty important dude. I've got a lot of money. I've got a lot of tech. Also, I got to keep you children in line here, but also I could just go fight this guy right now and I could probably win. So I thought that they borrowed that Robert Downey Jr. role a little bit.
Swagger.
Yeah. Swagger is definitely the best way to put it. Definitely. And it worked. But dude, Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
Oh man,
that just worked, man. That worked so. I could watch a whole Dr. Fate movie. Like I didn't realize that's what I needed. You know,
I know that's what it was so surprising because like when I initially read like the synopsis for it, I'm like, Hawkman, Dr. Fate. That's a weird combination, you know. In the fight, Black Adam. I was like, nope, you can't really fight Black Adam. He's like a Superman level threat.
Yeah,
but they did that. They went with that. And I didn't know they were going to do Sabak, which I thought was cool. I mean, you really couldn't have had Shazam in this. You know, that would have been a little too weird. I got a lot to say about this movie.
Do it.
I don't know, man. I absolutely loved it. And I loved the Hawkman character because he was driven, strong, like headstrong too, and dead set on his goal. Like it was, he almost had like a Batman vibe, except during the day.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't remember the last time I saw like other than maybe Batman v Superman. I don't remember the last time I saw a hero like that. Like it wasn't some deconstruction thing. He never doubted what he was doing. Like even when the goal ultimately changed, it was just cool seeing a manly dude on screen for once.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. So.
There's just a lot, and I'm going to nerd out a little bit.
Go for it.
That movie did the question, what is a hero better than any superhero movie I have seen? What took Tony Stark like 10 movies to get to, which was, you know, which Captain America did at the beginning, but it asked the question, what is a hero? And it didn't deconstruct it. It's ultimately, it presented Black Adam, which his idea of a hero was his son, which was, you know, a champion chosen by the gods, because he comes from an old world, which is kings and champions are the avatars of the gods. Hawkman, which is the antithesis, comes from, you know, you serve a higher justice, a higher authority on Earth, which was Amanda Waller in this case,
which I thought was
Waller.
That's another tie-in to the Snyderverse. Like they used her. I'm like, she's the perfect Waller. She is so unlikable. Like as that character, like you hate her guts.
Yeah, she kills it,
and she embodies bodies Waller. Like that woman, it's a grand slam every time she takes that role. She's so freaking good at it. Like, it's like I love her, but I'm like, God, I hate this woman so much.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Well, it's like the kid that played Joffrey. It was like after the first episode, the director was like, "Everybody hates you. Good job." But yeah, you got him. So you have this kind of like neoliberal worldview, of American imperialism. I hate to say it like way, but I mean that's what it is. Versus this old world God King kind of view. And because Black Adam is just killing people left and right, and I mean, his whole thing is, let the gods decide because that's the world he comes from.
Right.
And, Hawkman's like, extrajudicial killings. And they put them head to head, like literally head to head, and you see their worldviews clash, and you see them, and they don't lose respect for each other. Like, in fact, they only gain it more because by the end, I'm going to spoil it for people, the film answers what is a hero with Dr. Fate sacrificing himself for other people. And that's what the two worldviews, that's the universal, and I hate to go into like a religious thing, but I mean, that's the potency of Christianity, is the God that was willing to die for everybody.
Yep.
But that's what universally is accepted as a hero, is wherever we go from there, what makes a hero is the person who sacrifices themselves for other people.
Yep.
And I don't know, I mean, that sounds so cheesy. I thought that was beautiful. I thought they really, better than any superhero movie I've seen in a long time, asked that question and answered it. And I mean, they even did the Black Adam role very well, because like a more cynical Marvel way would have done it really cheap, but he has to become he has to become the champion of the people. Literally, The Rock becomes the people's champion.
I know.
Yeah, because of like, he doesn't, the conduct needed that kind of, they needed someone to act unilaterally because they don't have a U.S. military. They don't have, and like I said, I'm not trying to get into the deep politics of it, but that's what it is. It's neoliberal globalism versus old world monarchy. And it doesn't really say which one's right or wrong. It just kind of points out the flaws of both. And then the building block, where do you start from? The personal responsibility and self-sacrifice.
Yeah. Yep. It was good, man.
Anyway, I'll stop there.
No, you're good because that's the thing, is it comes off, it's portrayed as a Dwayne Johnson, The Rock popcorn action film. And
it is. But it's more.
And it is. And it starts off, it's so good because I don't know if you noticed in the very beginning, whenever his son was, they found The Rock or whatever, like the was it their universe, was their version of vibranium, what was it called?
Yeah, I got you.
Eurotarium or some kind of anyway, that rare metal. Yeah. Anyways, Eternium, yes. But see, The Rock is the father at the time, and you see him kind of turn his head, and I was like,
yeah,
that's The Rock.
I was like, that's The Rock. Yeah,
I was like, that's The Rock. I was like, that's weird. I noticed it, and I never got away from it. And in the end, when it shows his son die and give him the power to be Black Adam, it just clicked, and I was just like, that's so good. That's so good. And he's and they did, again, borrowing from Man of Steel, the struggle of a man trying to come to terms with, do I even want to be this?
Yeah.
Like, his nature in the movie is to just be vengeful and kill everybody, and then go and brood Batman style. But he's having to come to terms with, well, to be a hero like my son was, I need to be the people's champion. But I wasn't the chosen one. And that's what the brooding comes from. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I wasn't chosen. My son is sacrificed for me.
Those are some of the problems that people bring up. The movie answers, like, people will talk about this, like, man, he's a guy from like 6,000 years ago. Like, he has a worldview that you don't have, and to be not chosen by the gods, and then to still have the power, and then you just killed your entire civilization, and your son died for you. I mean, that's a massive weight. Like, that's a ridiculous weight.
Yeah.
And he literally has a death and rebirth and a baptism, like, all in one. Like, he literally has a Christian resurrection to become the hero. And people call those, or used to, 20 years ago, people called those cheesy, but now we live in like a post-biblical world where like 20-year-olds don't even know like the Christian story, so they don't know to insult it. And that's what's kind of funny.
Well,
but that's what you're literally seeing. And that's what Snyder had too. Snyder, whether you're a Christian or not, doesn't matter whether you're religious or not, he knew old archetypes and he used them.
Yes. And that's something, his imagery and his cinematography of the positioning of Superman in certain scenes where he is almost in the crucified position, but just,
and he's killed by a spear.
Yeah.
Like the spear of Longinus or whatever, Longinus, whatever you say.
Oh yeah. Give me chill bumps talking about this kind of stuff, man. That stuff gets me hyped. That's one of the freaking reasons why I love it so much, because he saw the parallel between Superman and Jesus, and he used that. And so somebody like me, just like you were saying with Black Adam, you sit back and you watch it, and the more you watch it, the more you find, the more things that are hidden in there. That's why I keep going back to these movies, because the more I'm there, I'm like, oh, freaking dude, I didn't see that last time. I'm Leonardo DiCaprio sitting there going, yeah.
Well, with people try to say Zack Snyder made him Jesus, it's like, no, what he's showing is Superman is realizing I'm not that. You can't carry that. Even as strong as I am, I can't bear the sins of the world, and I can't bear all this stuff. And like, that's the whole thing. It's like that's the greatest thing that he could possibly embody, and he can't. And that's where the brooding comes from.
Yep.
No matter, you can die and be reborn, you're still not the savior of the world, because the world still hates you, and because you're not a divine being, you're a super alien. You can't bear it because you don't have infinite love for all of humanity. But you try to.
Yeah. Well, hopping off of Man of Steel back into Black Adam.
Yeah.
I don't want to get to the post-credit scene yet. I do want to spend some time there, but I got to say, action-wise, this was such a fun film to watch. Dude, I could have watched him and Hawkman just beat the crap out of each other forever. It was good. And that's one of the things I love about the DC universe in general. It's a bit of a love-hate, probably 80-20. I love how powerful their beings are, so they can just beat on each other and do ultimate destruction, and nothing ever really comes of it.
Their fights have weight.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of the
scale,
the Marvel movies. Yeah, and scale. Like, people complain about the destruction in Man of Steel, but if you watch it, I think Superman only does one thing that destroys a building, and the rest of it is him fighting these guys who are just as strong as he is, and they are destroying everything. And it's just, I don't know, the way, I never forget the first time I saw Man of Steel. Like, I didn't know how to feel about it, but I remember those fight scenes were fantastic. Yeah. And then when I rewatch, I'm like, holy crap, how did he make CGI look this good? Like,
it still looks good.
Yeah, it still looks great. Yeah, but Black Adam the same way. Like, every hit had weight. And another thing, not to go off on another tangent, but the two young characters weren't annoying.
They were, I will say, they were used sparingly enough to where I didn't feel like they had the chance to get annoying, but they were also so green as grass that it was just like, okay, I don't necessarily know what their purpose was. I don't know, outside of comic relief, if they weren't in the film, would the film have been any better or worse? I don't know. But I will say they were used as pieces to break the action just a little bit. But they were far enough in the background to where it's not like, oh, okay, this again. Very, very Ant-Man style. Like, Ant-Man was my least favorite Marvel movie for a long time, until Miss Marvel. And Ant-Man grew on me over time, because to me it seemed more silly, and I was just like, oh, this is kind of bad. But like, I don't know.
No, Ant-Man 2 was good.
I mean, they're both.
I'm probably a little biased because I loved Ghost in it. I loved how she looked, and I loved the actress that played her.
Yeah, I mean, she's good. I liked her from Lost. I didn't love those movies. Yeah, I don't love Paul Rudd either. So it's kind of like for me, I had zero investment in it, and it was better than I expected. But like, it was like, this is a quality movie, and out of some of them, this is like the bottom tier.
Yeah, I'm definitely not seeing Quantumanium.
Yeah, I'm
Quantumania, whatever.
I think I
don't care about Kang.
Yeah,
and like, here's my thing, man. We can do a whole video on this. Like, I don't know why Marvel keeps doing this, like growing. Yeah. When after Thanos, what they should have done is cut everything and introduce mutants.
Yes,
because they should have, and it should have been like, it could have been a dimensional tear, which I think is stupid. No multiverse crap. It should have been, the stones have been used on Earth 3 times now. It's caused a mutation.
And boom, you got
and it. Just start from there,
dude. Okay, so I don't want to make our whole conversation about Marvel, but like, I loved the most recent Spider-Man movie with all 3 Spider-Men in it.
No Way Home.
No Way Home. I couldn't think of it. But what's so frustrating is the entire premise was a drunken wizard got into an argument with a nerdy teenager and then caused all that. And it's just like...
Yeah, that was a very stupid way to do it.
The plot was so bad. But they knew they had so much gold on their hands that it didn't matter what the plot was.
But here's the sad thing. The best part of that movie is everything Sam Raimi did before 20 years ago.
I said that walking out of the theaters. This movie is only great because it just took everything done before and made it full circle. It literally, and they even the weird stuff with Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I think Amazing Spider-Man 1 is one of the greatest Marvel films ever made.
It's way better than I remember when I rewatched it.
And see, I think Andrew Garfield is an amazing Spider-Man. He plays the loner skater kid, and that fits that. To me, that fits like what a Peter Parker could and should be in a modern age.
He was the most emotional one.
Yeah. I mean, he just it just worked. Now, don't get me wrong. What's funny?
I saw a meme. It was him talking to the Tobey Maguire one, and Andrew Garfield was like, "I had a girlfriend named Gwen," and Tobey Maguire said, "I did too," and Andrew Garfield said, "She got thrown off of a roof." And Tobey Maguire said, "Mine did too, but I saved her." And Andrew Garfield looks at him, and Tobey Maguire goes, "Oh, you can't do that, can you?" It was the scene, the web shooter scene or whatever.
That's so funny. And that whole thing, the whole interaction between them was essentially a meme brought to life. Yeah, and that was so good. And again, that fixed that whole just abysmal plot hole. It's just like, this is, I was watching, I was like, oh my gosh. The thing I hate the most about Tom Holland is Mr. Stark, oh my gosh, I'm just such a nerdy little Peter Parker, Mr. Stark. It drives me insane.
He's like Morty from Rick and Morty.
Yes, it drives me nuts. And then they did that. I'm like, oh gosh, it's happening. It's happening again. Here we are. Oh, Mr. Strange. Oh no, I need my girlfriends and my grades, and I need to go to college together. I'm like, I'm freaking Spider-Man, but I just want to be pretend. He was driving me nuts. And then he does that little nerdy, nasally, super fast talking thing, and then it's like, oh, here we are. This is really good. The first half of the movie, just get it out of here. But again, I'm not here to bag on Marvel.
No,
I'm here to praise Black Adam for being a really good film.
Black Adam, I think, could have been the first. I think it could have been the prototype of a whole new era of DC. Like, I thought it was so good. Like, I don't know, man. I think if you were going to relaunch DC, that was a great way to do it. That would have been a good one, yeah. And it was like Morbius. Not to bring it in, but like Morbius wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't great. But it's like Black Adam and that, like the internet just ruined them. Like they just made fun of it so much. But and it's like, man, if you sit down and watch Black Adam with some popcorn, you're not going to be disappointed.
No, definitely not. Dude, and I actually really liked Morbius.
I did too. I thought it was better than most of the Marvel stuff.
I 100% agree. And I get made fun of for that because most people didn't watch Morbius. So they're just like, oh, it's Morbin time. And I think that movie was really well done. Granted, the last boss fight, the kind of conclusion, it was left a lot to be desired. But the struggle between him and his friend and his friend inheriting those same characteristics and traits and then using it to be vain and to fulfill it. That was a really good dynamic between the two, and then I think that Jared Leto is a really good actor personally. So I think he did a good job as Morbius. I
think he looked great as Morbius and did it. I think I don't know. I guess there's parts of it that weren't great, but to me, it was like a solid 7 out of 10 for a comic book movie.
Which I'm all for a nice 7.
Yeah.
That's my favorite games are 7s. Gotham Knights is one of them. This game is got some flaws. I love it.
The other thing, Black Adam, I couldn't find anything that looked bad. Like you need the CGI because, and The Rock he even went on record with saying that he made sure they used like VFX for most of the stuff, and it looks like it. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, dude.
I think people dog it just because they haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, and I think that it's unfortunate because this movie didn't make a ton of money. And it's not going to get a sequel. And this would have been a great setup for a trilogy. And in my opinion, the trilogy should have gone like this: Black Adam, Shazam, Black Adam, Shazam, Superman.
Yeah, I think what they should have done is movie 2. I think Amanda Waller should have conscripted Shazam because she wouldn't know who he is by now. He's just a kid, That's who she could be, and that would really show how devious she is basically blackmailed this kid to go fight Black Adam. Because I don't know if Superman would do it or not, because they kind of leave that up in the air with the last scene, Yeah. Which was perfect.
It was such a good... Dan, and that's the part that makes me so mad, because the end credit scene was so perfect. It just left it wide open. You could have gone anywhere. The music score was a traditional Superman score, modernized. His suit was a traditional take with the modern, upgrade. Like it was Henry freaking Cavill, the Superman, in my opinion.
Yeah, the only Superman.
The Superman. And it was just like, hey, we need to talk. And I'm like,
yep.
I just wanted to freaking scream because it was like, this should have been the moment that made me pop. Like, this is so amazing. But internally, I was just like, I'm so dead inside because you took this away from me before I had a chance to really enjoy it.
The best, I really think, it's a great origin story for Black Adam. And the moment The Rock, to me, became Black Adam in that movie was when he looks at Amanda Waller and says, "Send them all."
Yes.
I was like, dude, that's a Black Adam. That's a Black Adam line. Yeah. And then Superman shows up and he doesn't flinch. I'm like, yep, that's Black Adam.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so frustrating because we've been robbed, we've been robbed.
Yep.
Like they should have never put it in there. They should have never let it out. And if the fact they changed their mind 2 months later,
they didn't know. They had no idea what was going to happen. I think they're so incompetent because Warner Brothers controls everything they do. And doesn't somebody own Warner Brothers now?
Discovery just bought them from AT&T.
Yeah. I think they had no idea. I think they probably were just going with The Rock, working with him. I think James Gunn is just a puppet. I don't think that guy has much say in anything. I think he just has to go back to the share owners, whatever they are, and be like, yeah, we're doing everything.
Yeah.
Because
it's frustrating.
I don't know. I'm not excited about James Gunn. I'm not gonna lie, man. I didn't see the Suicide Squad. Maybe I should, but I don't care. I don't care to see a bunch of villains murder a bunch of people and laugh about it.
It that's what it is. It's so. Did you watch Peacemaker?
No, I mean, here's the thing. I love The Rock and I love John Cena and I love Batista because for this simple reason, wrestlers have eaten crap for so long. They know how to please fans better than anybody.
Yep.
They will do anything for fan approval. They don't care about critics. They don't care about numbers. They don't care about any of that, because those are the guys that will spend 10 years breaking their backs in a ring to get one shot at a title belt. So I have the utmost respect for wrestlers turned actors, even if they're not good, because I know what those dudes will go through to please the fans.
And they look
anyway, not to go off on a tangent, but yeah. But to say all that, I haven't seen Peacemaker, no.
So I'll put it like this. I highly recommend the Suicide Squad first, then watch Peacemaker. Nothing else. Yeah. You'll laugh. There's some good action. And John Cena slays the role of Peacemaker. He said that they said be a Captain America, but a douchebag. And he is that. It's so good. The problem is this. Suicide Squad itself, the Suicide Squad, it's not a terrible movie. It's actually a pretty good movie, I think. It's a good rated R DC film that's got James Gunn's humor in it. A ton of the villains die, and it's just a fun watch. And Idris Elba and John Cena together is gold. It's just that's really good.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I think it's better than the original Suicide Squad we got, because that's
the only movie I walked out of ever.
It's an incoherent mess, you know. But the promise we keep getting is that David Ayer's version of it was different and better.
That first trailer with Harley Quinn, and it was like Bohemian Rhapsody, whatever the song was playing over it. That looked terrifying and amazing and awesome, and that's what made me want to go see it. And then they start putting out more trailers, and it looks worse and worse. And then I saw that movie, and I chose pizza over that movie. It was like halfway done, and my wife and I were like, let's just get out of this crap. Let's just go eat some pizza.
The movie lost all of its resonance for me after the first 15 or so minutes, whenever the Batman chase with Joker is done. I'm like, well, that's...
I think what should have been the plot of that movie was the Suicide Squad is conscripted to kill the Joker.
Yeah.
From Amanda Wallace, and then of course it all goes downhill. And I don't know what the Joker was supposed to be in that film. I don't know what any of that film. And for some reason, they used a witch as like the main villain.
And see, so this is what I heard, and I used to be so deep into the weeds on the Snyderverse stuff, and a lot of the reports coming out were originally they were going to use Steppenwolf as the bad guy. Nice. And then the studio made them change it because Zack Snyder was using Steppenwolf.
Oh yeah, and you couldn't have those guys couldn't fight Steppenwolf.
Well, and the thing was that, like, I don't know. That was supposed to be the thing. So then, if you watch the Suicide Squad movie, it's like they don't even have a bad guy. Like the Suicide Squad is put together for no reason. You know, like it starts off at this weird pace. It's like, wait, why? Why are we doing? Why are we putting together Task Force X? There's no threat. There's no reason. You know, and I think it could have been a good movie, and I would love to see the Ayer cut. I doubt we'll get it now, but I think at one point in time we were looking like we might have gotten it because the Snyder cut was such a big deal. And who knows, maybe one day. But I say all this. It's worth watching. I say go. I would encourage you watch it, then watch Peacemaker. Peacemaker's hilarious. It's vulgar and it's crude, and John Cena does such a really good job of just being John Cena with a gun.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, you need to watch the opening credits because the intro is hilarious. Like the actual intro of every episode is really funny.
Yeah.
But the CG is really good in it. Like the actual premise of what's going on is awesome. And then even the slapstick nature on the social political things that were happening, it's funny. You know, like the way that there's a line in there because of course, you know, this came out. It just seems like everyone's rushing to check all the boxes for all the different archetypes, right? And so there's a lesbian character in there, and her and John Cena are having like, she went to go show a picture to him, and she shows a picture of her wife's vagina. And he's like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that, or whatever. And he was, yeah. So it comes out that she's a lesbian. And he says he's an ally, And she's like, just because you watch two women on a porn doesn't mean that you're an ally. And he's like, I got 400 gigs of, he goes, I got 400 something gigs on my computer that says otherwise. And it's just like, it's the dumb jokes, but it's like they took the social political stuff and they put it in there,
flipped it on its head,
and they do it in a really funny way that like there's like I say all the time on the show, there's good writing and there's bad writing, and this was really good writing. Like, it's just well done. And there's so many times, like, his dad is this, they would go reach really deep into the annals of the DC universe and pull out some white supremacist villain. And his dad's this white supremacist villain. And so, like, he's catching heat because they're like, your dad's a racist. And he's like, I hate my dad. And it's just this whole, and so they focus on all the issue he has with his dad. And he's always trying to please his dad, but his dad's the leader of the Aryan nation and all this stuff. And it's like, they did what everyone else was doing. They took all the racial stuff and they put it in there, but they wove it all together in a really good way where it's like, okay, yeah, you took your white supremacist bad guy and you put him out there. Like, oh, everyone's doing this right now. But it was funny. And the way they did it was good. And they really made you hate the guy. Now that, there's a lot of reasons to hate the guy, but he's a friggin' douche. And just the struggle between him and John Cena as their relationship and how they have to interact with each other. It's just, it was really well done. And it makes me laugh.
I'll check it out. But I gotta express this thought. The problem isn't only that we lost the Snyderverse and the Nightmareverse, which would have been fantastic. I mean, my God, what could have been better than seeing Superman fight Darkseid? And then James is going to come in and be like, oh, what if we saw Clark Kent as a reporter? What if we saw him fight Darkseid instead?
Yeah.
Anyway, I could have seen Ben Affleck fight Darkseid, but okay.
Yeah. Ben Affleck was supposed to die to Darkseid in film 5.
Yep. And how great would that have been?
Lois Lane was supposed to be killed by Darkseid.
Yeah. That's what people don't understand. I'm going to go back off tangent. People watch it and think Superman goes evil because Lois dies. Like, no, Superman goes evil because of the anti-life equation. There's a difference. Anyway, it's not that we just lost that. We lost all the potential that was going to come from it. Man, imagine a Deathstroke movie directed by the guy who made The Raid.
Yes.
Wouldn't that have been the greatest thing ever made?
Not only that, but did you see the CG mock-up of the fight scene that they were supposed to have? That was so cool. I was like,
imagine we could have seen Deathstroke fighting Batman on screen.
Yeah.
We're not getting that.
And the warehouse fight on Batman vs. Superman is one of the best fight scenes.
All right. I'm going to go into this. I got to go to bed soon, but who does Batman kill in that movie?
I mean,
he doesn't kill anybody.
It's implied that he killed people because there's the dude that gets blown up with a grenade, but technically
he didn't do that.
Technically, he did that himself. Then there's the guys that were in the car that he was shooting all the rubber bullets at.
I get the whole thing that he's like being more brutal, but it always seemed to me more like Dark Knight Returns than it was like murder. I didn't see him murder anybody.
and that's the thing is, like, if you look, every single Batman has killed people. As a matter of fact, in the same way, because like he left Ra's al Ghul and Batman Begins, he said, "I don't have to save you." Yeah. What's funny is there was a website that was keeping up. There was like a Batman body count, and Michael Keaton has killed more people than any other Batman, but yet he's praised as the Batman. So it's crazy, but either way, that fight though, where he grabs that dude and freaking scorpions him, like, oh my gosh, that was just it was so good. But we could have had that versus Deathstroke. We could have had potentially two people that can fight the same, going at it. Like we just, and like you were saying, the Nightmareverse. The promise. I mean, Superman stuck his hand through Batman's chest in the Nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, and we're not going to get that anymore. Like that kills me.
Yeah, we're not getting anything like that. We're not getting anything that ambitious because it's too scary for producers and stuff to think about. executives. They don't want to do anything ambitious.
Could you imagine right now trying to pitch, something like that, following how that whole ordeal went down? I don't know. I'd be terrified, but I mean, you're going to get more safe stuff. You're going to get more cookie cutter Marvel popcorn films. And, I think that you're going to get, Black Adam wasn't popcorn enough, Aquaman wasn't popcorn enough. So I think that, what's going to happen is from here on out, we're going to get through the Flash. We're going to get this complete reboot. And then the next universe will be unrecognizable.
It won't be cool.
No. And now James Gunn just said the other day, and I don't know how much he's doing to troll people, but he's going to bring over the Guardians of the Galaxy cast and put them in. He wants to work them into his DC universe. So I got to have Chris Pratt going to be Clark Kent?
Booster Gold.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. that might not be bad, actually.
The only thing I remember from Booster Gold is the death of Superman, where he barely gets his shield up in time before Doomsday throws him into outer space or something.
Oh, you know what we could get? What was that other Green Lantern? Not Hal Jordan, but the other guy.
Oh no, Guy
Gardner. Yeah, we could have Chris Pratt as Guy Gardner.
No, he's too cool of he's too nice of a guy to be Guy Gardner.
We have Chris Pratt as
Guy Gardner. Got the crap beat out of him by Doomsday too. I remember that.
He did. So
he got his head slammed in a car door.
Well,
he had it coming.
It's going to happen. Chris Pratt is going to be in the DC universe. I mean, hell, that might even be our next. That might be our next Batman.
Oh, man, I don't mind Chris Pratt, but I don't want to see him in the DC universe at all. No,
he's going to. It's a me.
He's just got a goofy face.
It's me, Mario.
He didn't even do that.
Yep. All right, Dan. I've kept you.
No, I was just gonna say I can't recommend, and maybe it's my dad movie, but I can't recommend Black Adam enough.
I agree. It's on. I wish I could show you my screen up here. I've got on. I cleaned out my watch list or my list or whatever of on HBO Max, and it is now Man of Steel, BVS, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Black Adam. I used to have Aquaman and I used to have Shazam on there, but I actually removed those two and I've just kept those four. That's my watch list on there currently. And I had the original, the first Wonder Woman movie. Wonder Woman 84 sucked.
Yeah, it was bad.
That was trash. That was such a terrible movie. Pedro Pascal is such a he's a great actor, and I can't even watch it. And what's her face? Kristen Wiig as Cheetah was awesome.
Yeah, that was a great casting.
It was, but the whole movie sucked. It
was super long.
It was way too long, and then the CG was terrible.
Yeah,
grabbing lightning with your.
That was really weird.
That
was a weird. I don't know. There was so much trash in that movie. It was hard to keep up with. And then apparently the third one that they scrapped, she was going to bring back that guy again, like her love interest, for like a third time.
Jeez.
But yeah, I'll let you go, man. But
I was just going to say, I've kept you for an hour and now 40 minutes of recording time, 2 hours total almost since we've been together. And you just came off of another podcast. So I was going to give you an out, because if not, I'll keep running my mouth.
Yeah, I need to go to sleep.
Yeah, well, Dan, I appreciate your time. Before we get out of here, what's going on with Godfoe Universe? What are you working on? What's your timelines looking like? Is there anything you want to push real fast?
Oh, yeah. The graphic novel's coming out this spring. Josh is, of course, on schedule because he's Josh. He's amazing. Check out our YouTube channel. I'm putting up 6 videos a week, and that varies from podcasts to like reviews to insight kind of stories and kind of stuff like that. You and I are launching the Lamentations. I would highly encourage people to go to godfoeuniverse.com and read the Lamentations, sign up on our mailing list, and we send you stuff every week. I mean, we're just gonna have a lot coming out. My buddy's living with me right now. We're making short films.
Heck yeah.
I mean, this year we're putting out 2 graphic novels, several short films, continuations of like the Lamentations type stuff. I mean, this is the year we get this thing off the ground. Like, guys, this is a really cool time. I mean, we might even release a novel. The novel's been done for 2 years. We might release a full length 300-page novel.
Nice. Well,
yeah, but go subscribe to the YouTube stuff. Go get on the mailing list because I am sending stuff out all the time. I just want to create art and send it to people.
Well, something that you and I have been working on in the background is, again, setting up at the SC HorrorCon together. I'm trying to see if I can get us a panel, not even just our booth, but a panel. Nice. Being that it's South Carolina, it's horror. You and I both like, all those things, South Carolina and horror, because they are, synonymous. But I'm going to pitch the idea of us doing like a top 10. Maybe a top 10 in horror games, top 10 in horror in general, top 10 movies, whatever. I figured, we could get away with something like that. I don't know if they'll accept the panel, but we'll see. I'm going to try. But at the very least, I'm going to try to have us up there, get us a booth. We'll have Godfoe Universe up there, stuff. We'll have lootbros stuff up there, and we'll at least get to mingle with a bunch of people. There's also the SC Comic Con in April, and Eastman's going to be there. So I'm gonna reach out. I don't know that I don't know. Maybe they're booked. I don't know. I haven't talked to them yet. I'm gonna try to get on over there and one of our own, Zach. He's gonna be doing Missouri Comic Con. He's doing a 30 to 45 minute panel, and it's gonna be he's gonna be covering building a podcast, building a community with your podcast. So that's going to be his topic. He and I are working on that currently. And I think that's going to be our next leg of the Loot Bros is going to the cons. And, and I figured if, especially the ones here in South Carolina, there's no excuse. There's no reason why you guys and myself shouldn't be, at least splitting the cost of admission and getting in there together, We all get along great, and we all got plenty to talk about.
We got stuff to do, man. Yeah. I'm going to text you at 7:50.
Do it. Do it.
Tell you I got stuff to do.
Do it. So, yeah. But yes, Dan, thank you so much for coming on here, man. I really appreciate your time. I'm glad we finally got to talk Black Adam. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. If I would have watched it a week or two sooner, like you asked me to, I would have had a total different experience, but I had my heart broken before I went in, and I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed the movie. That's a testament to it. I highly recommend it. I think it's a great film, and just like you said, there's levels to it that are deeper if you'll allow it to present itself to you. If not, it's a good popcorn film, and go have a good time.
Yeah, well, enjoy the figures, man. I'm glad they came in.
You're the man, and you know what? I'm going to show you. So when I opened it up, the first one that rolled out was the Talon from Court of Owls.
Nice.
And not only is that super cool, did I not have this one, but the Court of Owls plays a huge role in Gotham Knights. And in fact, Scott Snyder sat in with them to kind of help them flesh out the Court of Owls story arcs in there. So that has been one of the coolest parts of the game. That these are some of my favorite stories told in DC in recent years. And the fact that this was the first figure that popped out, I was like, dude, it's like, how does he know me so well? That was extremely kind of you, and I really appreciate it. So,
yeah, man.
So definitely thank you so much for that. So, yes, guys, Loot Bros Podcast, Godfoe Universe. I'll put links to the Godfoe YouTube and all that good stuff in the description. You guys leave Dan some love, leave some comments, go check them out. Hit the subscribe button. If you're listening to this on YouTube, go check out Godfoe. And I listen to Godfoe every week. There's no reason why you guys shouldn't.
And I listen to the Loot Brothers, so there we go.
Dan, you have a good night. This has been the Loot Bros Podcast, and we're out of here. All right, guys, I want to get on here and give a little update. Since Dan and I have spoken, our panel for the SC HorrorCon has been accepted, and our vendor spots have also been accepted. So one of the two places we have applied to set up and meet fans, meet friends, meet people, sell video games, sell comic books, all those good things have been accepted. And Dan and I will be doing a panel on horror in video games. So we'll be talking about some of the greatest horror games, some of the movie inspirations of them, how horror works in video games. So we are super, super excited. Come join us September 16th through the 17th at the SC HorrorCon. So now I'm going to patch in two things, guys. You got two things. You have the backlog beatdown update. Dan had to step away from the microphone when we were doing the show, so I slid in the leaderboards earlier. I'm going to patch in the backlog beatdown updates, and then I'm also going to patch in the trophy rarity event updates from Gaz. So thank you guys so much for listening to the show, and we look forward to seeing you at SC HorrorCon. Man, you guys are freaking killing the game. So in first place, we got I'm Styling on You Bro with 41 points. Freaking nasty. We got Mark Duplex with 26 points. We got Diego with 22 points. Redbeard Rick with 15. Kalai with 10. Look at that. We got Alex with 9. JT, the commish, with 9. We've got CJ, the affectatious donk, with 8. We got Gaz with 8. We got the bearded nerd with 6. We got James the nerd with 5. Sadik with 5. We got Residentdarrell with 4. Dino Killer with 4. Game Squat with 4. We got Departed 570 with 3. We got I Yield to No One with 3. We got Sid with 3. We got Jared with 2 and Noah the Builder with 2. Not a bad run for the first 26 days as of this recording in January. So definitely want to give you guys a shout out. Appreciate you guys for freaking coming in here and knocking this stuff out week after week. Do your thing. Keep killing it. And we'll keep updating everything.
Time to check
Now that's a collaboration. Welcome back to another edition of the Rarity Update, where we try to answer life's important questions, such as will Zach ever find his PS4 power cable, or Tricky play a proper game in 2023, and how much extra spam can CJ get from the DualSense Edge. I hope everyone is enjoying the competition and the updates. Apologies for having to listen to my voice. It's not a voice that's really suited for radio or podcasts. It's my face that is probably better suited for that. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the update. So, as per usual, we'll start at the bottom. 24 people in it. Everyone's had an update by now. Well, most people, apart from the person who's in last, which is the bearded nerd, Zach, 24th place, yet to score a point, yet to earn a trophy in 2023. So hopefully Zach's all right. Someone might want to put the feelers out for him, just see if he's alive. Sure he is, but yeah, come on, Zach, let's pull your finger out of that. 23rd place is Darth Knight. Requested entry on about January the 3rd. Hasn't earned a trophy since January the 1st. So, yeah, okay, moving on. So, but he's on 3 points. His legacy points have helped him out a bit. 22nd place is Kalai. She had a weekly increase of 3 points. Again, not through earning a trophy this week. So, from legacy trophies. And she is now on a total of 5 points. Tross 0726 is up into 22nd place. 21st place, I should say. On 8 points. And he looks like he's going for the platinum in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's on 8 points, 7 point increase this week. Departed 570, another late entrant. I believe he's been on holiday this week in Florida. So he'll be looking to make moves at the table. He's on 9 points, a point ahead of Tross, doing a bit of Tales from the Borderlands. I mean, the next one, 20th place, Tricky Mick, 15 points this week, 26 in total, but we still haven't got a rarer trophy than 88.31%. His rarest trophy this week was in a game that takes 3 minutes to plat, looking at the fastest achievers on PSN profiles. Kruger 2, it was a 95.1 and that was his rarest trophy of the week. Interestingly, he's past the 7,000 common trophies increase since we started this competition. So about time he played a proper game, I think. Next up in 19th place is Diego, who is his first full week of doing it. Moved up onto 30 points, a 29-point increase. Looks like mainly doing Nobody Saves the World and has earned the platinum in that. Then we've got the Brain, 76 is next, on 10-point increase from that, on 40 points. Playing a game I'm not familiar with, Trail Makers. And above him is Stink Palm, only a couple of points ahead on 42 points. And his rarest trophy of this week was Hidden Talent in Among Us. Homer Gets Duffed is in 15th place. And he, again, it's all quite tight between those three. He's on 52 points. And he's been playing, he's gone old school, bit of Infamous on the PS3. Good game. And then we have a little jump up to the next group of mid-table mediocrity. Sadek is on 78 points in 14th place, and has been rarest trophy this week was Daily Routine in Warhammer Chaos Bane, 16.53%. He's one place below Residentdarrell, he had a slow week this week, only a 6-point increase, but he's on 80 points. Rarest trophy in Dead Space 2 this week. And the rivalry between him and MZ continues as MZ has overtaken him, thanks to his 21-point score this week, and is now on 3 points ahead of him on 83 points. Doing a bit of Mafia 2, which I think he has been doing since the contest started. Next up, there's another little gap up to Joe, and Joe is in 11th place, and this is where we start with everyone from above this mark has got into triple figures, so they've broken the 100-point mark. So Joe is in 11th place on 112 points, a weekly increase of 18. Playing a game I'm not familiar with. Sounds a little bit dodgy, I think, because when I looked at the trophies, I couldn't even read it. It was all in Japanese, and it's called Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter. And I've written God knows on the spreadsheet for those I look, and that's not actually the name of the trophy. That is just because I'm not literate when it comes to Japanese symbols. So yeah, no idea what it means, but that's his rarest. Next up in 10th is Yield. He's still maintained in the top 10 at 130 points. There isn't actually too much movement between the places in the top 10. A couple of people have jumped up. But his rarest was still in the final station, Brandon Story at 7.87%. And he is only 1 point behind the commissioner, JT, who has gone on a bit of a spree with securing ultra rares, mainly largely thanks to Team Sonic Racing. So he's had 9 ultra rare increase since the competition started, and his rarest trophy of the week is also the rarest of the year, which is 3.29%. So the platinum in that. So well done to JT. There's a 15-point gap between JT and Corey, the grounded gamer. So he's, remember last week he had a 111-point weekly increase. It was lower this week, fairly moderate, at 39 points, but that puts him on to 150 points. And his rarest trophy was, again, a game that was rare last week for him, which was Arcade-ageddon. And that was for Nexu Wizard, which is for winning 25 PvP matches. Next up from that is Marky Fraser. So he's on 167 points, again a fairly modest 23-point increase, but he did secure the platinum in MotoGP 22. The King of Spam is next, Affectatious Donk. A little bit of an increase. He is up to 182 points and a good weekly increase of 74. Again, a game I'm not too familiar with is Metal Tails Overkill. At 15.09% was his rarest. And then we have a little bit of a jumper because we actually then move into the 200s. So CJ on 182, and then we go into 5th place, which is Alex on 256 points, 59 point this week, and the rarest trophy is an Axiom Verge 2, which was one of PlayStation Plus's monthly giveaways for January. So Alex has dropped, but I'll come on to that in a moment. Another person who's dropped is myself. Despite scoring 60 points this week, I'm on 259, so I've increased my lead over Alex by a single point. So with only 3 points separating us now, and my rarest trophy was in Dangerous Golf at 3.48%, which is actually my rarest of the year so far. Top 3. I was displaced in the top 3 by Meath Goats a lot. So he had 189 points weekly increase, which I know Dupes had a really high in the 200s last week, but it's looking through the games that Meath Goats a lot played. A lot of them are older games, so they do represent a truer value because the movement shouldn't be as great as what would be in Dupes, which we'll come on to in a moment. So yeah, he had a 189 point increase, which takes him into 3rd place on 304 points with his rarest trophy in Injustice 2. Dupes actually drops, so we've got a new leader. Dupes drops down to 2nd place. His ultra rares last week were at 56, which was a 16 point increase from his base count. That's actually dropped by 10. Obviously, as I sort of alluded to on the update last week, is we suspected that would happen because of how new the game he was playing, Persona 4 Golden, was. And yeah, that has happened. So he's dropped 10 ultra rares, albeit a lot of those have moved into very rares. But because of that drop, it meant that he only had a 22 point increase this week, but is still on 310 points. So still excellent scoring from Dupes there. Which means the new leader is Redbeard Rick, who has had another 100+ week and is leading the way on 334 points, 117 points this week. Again, a game that he was playing last week is his rarest trophy, which is 60 seconds at 2.96%. So, moving on to the rarest trophies of the week, and we'll start in reverse order. So, in 5 is Nexu Wizard in Arcadegeddon, achieved by Corey, and that was for winning 25 PvP matches. In 4th, it was Unlucky, Break 70 Mirrors in Dangerous Golf, achieved by myself. JT comes in at 3 for his platinum in Sonic Team Racing at 3.29%. Teamwork makes the dream work. At number 2 is Rick, who achieved the trophy Danger Zone in 60 seconds, which was a 2.96% rarity, and that was for break or use everything in your shelter. And the number 1 rarest trophy, again, we may see this subject to increasing in popularity, therefore reducing the rareness of it. But Dupes with the Truth in Your Hands in Persona 4 Golden at 2.40%, which defeat Izanami, whoever Izanami is, I don't know. But yeah, well done on defeating him. So what that changes make to the rarest trophies of the contest so far is there was a couple drop out. We had the platinum trophy that I had achieved on Star Wars Battlefront 2. And that was, so I'll go through at number 5 so we now, to get into this, you need to get into the top 5 rarest trophies of the whole contest, you need to be rarer than 3.29%, which is the 5th trophy, which is JT's Sonic Team Racing Platinum. Rick is in at 2.96% for his one he achieved this week in 60 seconds, Danger Zone. Marky Fraser is still in there with his, I believe in a higher power, Gems of War at 2.92. We have Dupes for his trophy this week in Persona 4 Golden at 2.40, which actually means Yield's Deep Rock Galactic trophy at 1.15% is now back up as the rarest trophy of the competition. So well done to everybody there. The last thing I'll do, I thought I'd introduce this and maybe do this each week, is just give everybody who has achieved a legitimate platinum. I'm not reading out spam crap, the jumping cabbage or whatever, but yeah, so these, although I have included, to be fair, I've included Tricky's and Darrell's, which contentious to say the least, but yeah, I will include him for this week and we'll see. So well done to the following. So Tricky, I'll do it in order of the rarity. So Tricky achieved the platinum in Kruger 2 at 95.10%. Probably not even worth a mention, actually, I should, in hindsight. Darrell has achieved a platinum in Red Bow, Ratalaika game, 89.41. I included that because he has been doing it over a couple of weeks rather than spamming it in 90 seconds. Then you've got the next rarest is Mies Goatsalot, who achieved the platinum in Trine 4. So well done to you on that one. Yield achieved platinum this week in Bugsnax, which is a game I enjoyed. I've got the platinum in that, and that's at 38.45%. Diego got the platinum in Nobody Saves the World at 31.45. So well done to Diego. Then there's a bit of a drop. The next rarest is Mark Fraser. Finally got the platinum in MotoGP 22. A game I'll be checking out at some point at 14.27%. Alex got the platinum in Biomutant. Again, one of January's PS Plus games. So if you want to check that out, by all accounts, pretty good. Rick got the platinum in Streets of Rogue, which I think he's pledged Zach to be doing on the show. Obviously not on the PlayStation by the looks of it. So well done to Rick. 2 more to go, which is myself, but I don't need to congratulate myself, but I did get the platinum in Golf with Your Friends. Good game. Anybody who hasn't tried it, it's well worth playing, especially if you've got kids or family you want to play with, or friends you want to play with, you can do it online. Well worth playing. Really enjoyable. And finally, JT for Team Sonic Racing, which I already mentioned at 3.29%. So that is your update. Again, fairly similar time. I hope you're all enjoying the competition. I'm certainly enjoying it. I'm finding that with this combined with the Backlog Beatdown, I'm thinking about games. I'm thinking about what I want to play. Not necessarily just going for trophies or the rarest trophies. I'm trying to mix it up and match and see what I want to play and where I can score points. But yeah, I'm enjoying seeing sort of the banter, the camaraderie, and yeah, I certainly think it's going well. But yeah, keep doing your things, keep earning trophies, keep playing games, keep the banter up on Facebook and in Discord. But yeah, until next week, take care and thanks for tuning in. Cheers.